the war.
Ooh. And I'm still leveling a bit more so I can fight Xemnas with Little Ifu.
Okay, good evening, everyone. Welcome to Smudcast number 740, How Kung Fu Panda Stole Dragon Ball Story and Got Away with It. And
Somehow.
I can give a summary of Kung Fu Panda. It's pretty easy. There's an anthropomorphic panda, and he's chosen to be the warrior of whatever, and he goes off and save the world. And the story, I don't know what exactly is the story.
It's the most basic story ever.
Oh.
Then there's the escaped criminal who has beef with Panda's master, and Panda finds his true power within and beats him.
Okay, I mean,
a coming of age story at the very least.
Whereas Dragon Ball,
very simple. Oldest story of time.
Yep.
Okay, maybe. Whereas Dragon Ball was sort of started off as a comedy action story, and then became this beyond the journey of the West, and now it transformed into like this space fighting, galactic, universal martial arts tournament.
And that's an important part to mention, that Dragon Ball is directly inspired by the journey to the West.
Oh, there's lots of inspiration, but I don't think that's the premise. I think it just sort of transforms itself.
No, it took all the initial characters. It took from that. It did a completely different story than that. All the initial stories, like Oolong was the pig demon guy, for example. Like, I'm not in the watch together yet.
Well, there's lots of famous Chinese stories that we all know. There's the Water Margin story, Three Kingdoms. I'm always thinking of the Three Kingdoms because it's the biggest one. But when I look at Suikoden, which was made from the Water Margin, it's pretty much, you're gathering the 88 or 108 Stars of Destiny to overthrow the kingdom. It's like, that's pretty much all it is.
Wait, when that 108 heroes?
Well, it's in the original is like 80 or 88, but in the games it's 108. So they just increased the number.
It's probably a reference to the other story.
I'm sure there's something about it. I just don't know the number significance, what it means. But anyway, these are like people have used Journey to the West all kinds of places, not just media like anime and manga, but video games and movies. So it's nothing new.
I mean, hell, even Lego took a crack at it, and their version was actually pretty good.
Lego
of the Journey to the West?
Lego Monkey Kid is what it's called.
I didn't know of that.
It is a really good show.
Okay.
It's a show.
Yeah, it is also a show. Yeah, and it's pretty good.
That gets on the list. I have a list.
All right. Okay. Anyway.
So needless to say, the Journey to the West is a pretty common story, and then Dragon Ball just took it in its own direction. So I'm curious to see how Kung Fu Panda ties into this in terms of how it took influence from this.
It has a monkey.
Okay.
It's in China.
Yeah.
Anyway,
and that's it.
This video came out last month in December, and it's not even 7 minutes long, so it's fairly short, and it's from a small channel. So this is just some guy we found, and I'm glad to see that because I like to see interesting videos regardless of the popularity of.
As long as there's no hair-pulling crazy moments in this video, we're good.
Well, the 2 minutes of crazy are close.
Well,
just 5 minutes away.
We are talking about classically inspired Chinese stories that are fairly popular. So you can't go too wrong with, like, he's going to compare the two to say they're pretty much the same, only Kung Fu Panda did its own thing and did it very well as a movie franchise, whereas Dragon Ball is its own gigantic franchise in itself. So that's good. I think we could probably have a positive outlook before we start. So I think we're already...
Especially since both of these are very good pieces of media in their own right.
Yeah, they're very well liked, and they've been around for decades and decades. So, and I'm sure we're gonna get another Journey to the West inspired or Water Margin inspired story. I'm sure it's gonna keep going because China loves these stuff. And
I'm sure once China loses the communist regime, it may actually do a good interpretation of it.
Even if they were to switch regimes or just change government systems, I think they're still going to like the wuxia, the hero martial artist story. They're always going to keep telling that story. They love it, regardless of the times. And all of the lore, all of the cultural terms that I just don't know, but because I read manga and manhwa that are Chinese inspired, there's so much stuff that I just like, the gods and elixirs and all kinds of other things about breathing techniques I have no idea that are made into the ethos of their culture. So it's really cool.
Yeah, I would just assume that once the ideological propaganda pressure is gone, that there will be more open and more coherent in their storytelling.
I would
because
say
you always have these things not as hard as it could be, but you have these things influencing movies.
Oh yeah, I'm not saying that the government is not involved in some fashion, but when I look at the world of manga and manhwa, I would say the Chinese style of storytelling is much more limited than the South Korean or the Japanese. It's still full of expression and ideas.
Mm-hmm.
But like the Japanese, who are very strict in their cultural beliefs, so is China. So they just keep telling the same kind of story, just in different permutations. I actually found a really good one a few days ago. I finished reading, well, considering it's still in publication, it's, if not my favorite, it is that good. But I don't want to talk about that. We're going to talk about the video we're watching.
Yeah, but you're saying, you're mentioning a good thing. There is creativity in China. It just can't come out right.
Yeah. I wouldn't have found this if it wasn't illegal. So
that's another issue. That's another.
Yeah, I know. Anyway, let's keep going.
Kung Fu Panda stole from one of the biggest cinema franchises ever, and no one ever. Kung Fu Panda stole from one of the biggest cinema franchises ever, and no one ever talks about it. Now,
Okay, so we said it's inspired by Journey to the West. He's saying it's stolen, I'm assuming, from Dragon Ball.
Kung Fu Panda stole from one of the biggest cinema franchises ever, and no one ever talks about it. Now, Kung Fu Panda is no stranger from...
Okay.
I'm at 8 seconds. Where are you?
8 seconds.
I'm at 8 as well.
All right.
Okay.
Inspired by foreign films and martial arts films. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing that Kung Fu Panda is inspired by and steals exact scenes from some of these movies, because in my personal opinion, Kung Fu Panda is an amazing animated trilogy. And
look, the kids who see this movie the first time, they've never seen these scenes. The parents who watch these movies with their kids, they may see the homage to where the scene is inspired from. That is, in this case, in the case of Kung Fu Panda, I would not call it stealing. In that case, I will call it homage anytime.
Just so you know, it's not a trilogy. The fourth film is coming out this March. So.
Oh, it's a trilogy.
I have my doubts so hard for that movie.
Oh yeah.
Well,
I have serious doubts.
Okay. Damn it.
Gotta give
because
Jack Black
the first three.
money.
Because the first. Yeah, obviously. But it's like those first three films. I mean, the third film was a bit weaker. A little bit, but still, all three films are really good.
Mm-hmm.
And it's
they work well together, and you did not need the next one for the previous two. They all stand on their own in that sense.
For the vast majority of the movies stand on their own, but they do have those little details in the second and third that, if you're paying attention, it's a little reward for going from one movie to the next. They do mention details throughout.
Yeah. So what I mean to say is they never need a follow-up movie. They always expand on what has been, on what is there.
Yep.
And that is a very good, consistent, safe in the correct way kind of way of storytelling. Sorry. I would almost say it's like the original Star Wars trilogy is not entirely like that, because Empire Strikes Back leaves it open that, yes, we need another movie to finish the story. But it's this kind of first movie works by itself, second movie works together with the first movie, and then the trilogy works together as a whole. That's Kung Fu Panda does that, but cleaner.
Okay.
Even builds off and improves on some of these kung fu tropes and martial art tropes that we see in other foreign films and martial arts movies. But obviously, if you've watched Kung Fu Panda, you can see the references.
That previous thing, the old guy, that was from Kill Bill. Kill Bill did take tons of scenes from other martial arts movies because Tarantino is a giant fan of that stuff. That's why the guy also looked completely over the top. So this is then it's just stealing from those who have stolen. Then there's no problem.
And some scenes that they stole and are inspired by foreign films. The one most people know that Kung Fu Panda is inspired by is Kill Bill, mainly for the dumpling scene. Even if you watch the original Kung Fu Panda trailer, you can see that it steals even the music that is used in Kill Bill. It's obvious that they stole some of Kill Bill's iconic music and put it into the trailer. The inspiration is so obvious that even Quentin Tarantino has been interviewed about how Kung Fu Panda kind of stole.
Mike?
Try refreshing it on your end. That worked for me.
Okay, so in this case, that's...
So he's saying it's stealing from other pieces of work, and I'm like, that's fine. You can do that.
Well, yeah. Again, like Wes said earlier, it's like it's not stealing. It's just a lot of these. It's just called an homage, and that's perfectly fine too.
Kung Fu Panda doesn't try to reinvent the wheel. It doesn't try to be the ultra new thing that is super serious. If this was a serious movie, that would be a different thing. But it's a kids movie, and I don't mean to make it's a kids movie, therefore it can be less. No, a kids movie is more free to put in these references for the reason I mentioned earlier. These things are for the parents to see, because the kids who watch Kung Fu Panda for the first time probably have not seen Kill Bill, and if they did, the parents neglected their time watching over them.
Yeah, it's like these movies don't do anything outside of the box per se of these tropes. They take what they've got and they made something really good out of them.
Mm-hmm. All right,
that's it.
Here's the Dark Seraph for the 5. That's the real 5. That's the American 5. Thank you, sir. There is no greater void than the space between his ears.
Well, let's see if that. We'll see soon enough if that applies to this gentleman.
Somebody who only sees things as stolen from this, stolen from that all the time. That is a very immature position.
It can be taken negatively, but when I think of Japanese media as a whole, whether it's video gaming or comic books, there's entire genres dedicated to doing amateur versions of comic books, like manga. Like I will literally take the IP and just make my own version of it. And they're happy with that. Like, wow, you like me so much that you did your own? And sometimes it's adult, sometimes it's comedy, sometimes it's romance. But to do that is normal. It's a standard practice. And you see that not only with the manga, but actually the genres that have the tropes, you don't even know where they came from anymore because they're so overused. And what you end up getting is this magical mix of tropes, like we're talking like isekai with the video game patterns, the observation techniques, the status boxes popping up, the skill points. Like that's everywhere in almost every manga I read. Not that I want to read isekai, it just happens to be there, whether I like it or not. And you get this refined, competitive, the best of the best are what people are watching. And even if it dips or it gets one of the numbers wrong or doesn't like how the skills work or whatever, it's like, okay, someone's not aware of what's been going on the past 6 months or 12 months. And we can see that with the current winter season for anime. They finally, after how many years, have Solo Leveling finally coming to anime after, I guess it was 3 or 5 years. So it took that long.
Yeah, it's roughly about that long.
Yeah, because the sequel to Solo Leveling, which was his son, also came out during that time. So it's like, oh my God, this is like takes so long to get the most popular manhwa I could think of. And, that was like 3-5 years ago. And now they finally made an anime. So something was going on that during that time, everyone copied Solo Leveling. And
And
the ones that I'm reading right
That's the
now.
thing, that there's after all, there's only so many anime studios, and the stuff that is really, really good, they put that into the pipe of the really, really good studios.
And they analyze
They
why.
they don't want that to flop, because that would be a waste.
Well, there's also anime I'm watching that's really stupid, and they came from bad manga, and I stopped reading the stuff. But apparently, that got greenlit as well. So, you get all kinds.
Yeah, but it's probably that stuff is probably not done by Madhouse.
Oh no, it's there's all kinds of independent ones that they take whatever they can get, I guess. But this is so silly. It's just dumb, and they try to turn murder into a comedy. I'm just like, ooh, that's not good. It doesn't feel right.
I mean, aren't those called dark comedies?
You would think they're dark, but because everything's a tropey, colorful fantasy world setting, it feels really awkward. But even the jokes from the secondary protagonist is like, aren't you just a suicidal maniac? He's like, well, yeah. And they just drop it as if it's nothing. And you're like, oh,
Yeah, but
okay.
that makes it less dark comedy and more just slapstick.
It becomes a farce. It becomes a joke. So you don't take the world seriously.
Yeah, that's what I mean. And it's just Wile E. Coyote.
Where everyone dies. Okay.
Yeah, but it has a more serious art style, but that's kind of where it ends. What you mentioned before, that was mainly cinematographic techniques, like the Kurosawa blood splash, gushing, whatever you call it. The thing where the samurai scene, they hit each other, and then due to a malfunction in the tech, they just wanted a normal blood splatter. But what they got was, there's a second of pause when nothing happens, and then the blood pack explodes in a high pressure stream of blood, and it was an error, but it looked so amazing. They kept it, and it looked so amazing that afterwards everybody wanted to do it.
Yeah, and you get
it's a new technique found by accident that becomes a thing. Of course, if you almost beat for beat copy the music of a scene in another movie, for which you have already made other references, then that is an obvious homage. It's not just steal cool stuff. It then becomes an obvious homage.
Yeah,
because it's so in your face that this is that.
It's not just stuff done in movies. It's also used in the same techniques in manga. I remember the samurai slash where they cross swords and they fly so quickly the frame skips, and or the person is walking across the room and say, "Why does my neck itch?" And they've just been cut by razor wire that's so sharp that they're decapitated. And it's like, things are so deadly in this setting, and there's all this wonderful camera angles to show off the violence without having to draw all these crazy gradations and action lines and all the stuff that you would have gotten, let's say, from Dragon Ball in the early 2000s. You'd now have in crazy fight scenes with full color on giant screens or giant pieces of paper. Yeah. So it's been progressing. There's nothing bad about using other people's techniques.
Yeah, and just about that one, the skip the frame of the attack thing. Kirby Superstar had a mini game that you could play with someone else, where Kirby and a random other character like Waddle Dee would have Chinese clothing on, samurai clothing, and the moment you got the attack prompt, like a flash on the screen, you would have to push the attack button both. And the one who pushed it the earliest would win, but it would be executed in this Japanese style, where you don't see the actual attack. The two characters have just passed each other. There's a flash on the screen. There's a pause, and then the winner is announced. It's exactly that, but as a minigame.
Oh, yeah, I remember. Yeah, that's like you had a counter on the side. As soon as the counter started, you had to hit the button. Now I remember.
All right.
It's great, and I forgot the initial point, but we talked about techniques. That's great.
Anyway,
sorry.
Let's continue.
Kill Bill 1 and was, inspired by Kung Fu Panda 1. Now, am I saying this is a bad thing? No, because it kind of plays on the Kill Bill
Kind of
tropes
put
and
it
kind of
like
like
it.
memes on it and uses it for its own comedic effect. If Kill Bill didn't exist, the Kung Fu Panda dumpling scene is not as amazing as it is. Kung Fu Panda plays with a lot of these tropes
Still works
in
as a
martial
joke.
arts, like being the Dragon Warrior, being the Chosen One, and how out of all the animals, Po, a panda who is considered fat in the movie, is the Dragon Warrior. Obviously, most martial arts movies have these cunning and very tactical martial arts fighters, but Po is just some random guy at a noodle shop. It plays with a lot of martial arts tropes that we've seen in some of the biggest martial arts movies. But even though it plays on some of these tropes, it still has some blatant thievery scenes, and sometimes it even goes a step farther, where it even steals a whole plot line from one of the greatest
There's nothing wrong with using a plot line. There's not too many to begin with. So
Again, it's homaging. It's not stealing.
Yeah, literally homaging.
Yeah,
to-
but this then in martial arts movies, there's not a lot of plot lines you can do.
I'm going to take revenge on my dead master. Like, okay, again.
Which is why nowadays a lot of them, like Kung Fu Panda, add an extra spin for the sake of doing something more original.
Yeah, and look, like the Ip Man movies, they always did the same. They always did the same plot line, basically.
martial arts shows of all time. And if you watch Kung Fu Panda 2 and you've watched this iconic show, you know how blatant the thievery is. But no one seems to talk about it. And if somehow you didn't
It's
get the
all a
show from the
reference.
title and the thumbnail, it is the biggest anime of all time,
Alright,
Dragon
let's see this.
Ball Z. Kung Fu Panda 2 stole its whole entire plotline from Dragon Ball Z. Mainly one story arc that it's blatantly stole. It's kind of
So out of all the plots and all the
surprised me.
characters and all the seasons and all the shows, like not just Z, the one
Okay,
specific plot line in Dragon Ball Z. It's like, okay,
And Dragon Ball took nothing from anywhere.
no,
All took completely original.
invented all the plot lines in Dragon Ball. That's exactly.
Again, yeah, it's like again, Dragon Ball started as an adaptation of Journey to the West, and then when Z hit, obviously it took a little itty bitty bit of an inspiration from the DC stuff with Superman, but it still kept to its own original material, influenced by that. Which is where we got the issue of the original English dub. Sorry, go ahead.
It goes very wacky, like the DC comics do, and the Marvel comics for that matter.
I don't think it goes as hard as the DC.
No, it doesn't go as hard, mainly because it continuously moves forward instead of resetting every now and then to tell another wacky bullshit story.
Exactly. That's and that's a DC's issue. Point granted, but it's like we did that. That's part of the reason why we got back in the original English dub in the 2000s, where they went a bit too hard on the Superman influence, specifically when Goku fought Frieza on Namek. And Cyrus, you know exactly the speech I'm talking about. When he just goes full Superman.
All right.
That was an issue corrected in the redub in Dragon Ball Z Kai, which is much closer to the manga. Not
Is
100%, but
Is
better.
that solely a dub issue, or is that also in the original text?
It was no, it was not that direct of a Superman reference in the original text.
Okay, so it's an
is a dubbing
American
issue.
problem.
Yes, it was. In that case, yes.
So you did this to yourself.
Like in the original text, and then in the redub they did later, it's like the influence is there. It's just the original text doesn't go that hard on it, and that's
No,
what that's
not
the,
only
that's
that. Not only that, it's mainly the Funimation dub that did it. The Ocean's dub,
original.
they really.
I mean, hell, the Ocean dub did it worse by calling Bardock a brilliant scientist. They tried to make him Jor-El when, if you really look at the two, Bardock is basically the exact opposite of Jor-El. Minus trying to save his planet and his species. Other than that, complete opposite.
Can you fault someone for that?
In that case, it was once again a dubbing thing.
I mean, just can you fault someone for wanting to save his planet and species?
Well, no. You can't fault either of them for doing it. It's I think in terms of that specific aspect, the difference is that Bardock took a more direct approach. And tried to directly challenge Frieza, and still failed.
All right.
Well, he learned from it. Now that he's in hell.
In death. I mean, we don't. I mean,
you
know-
know,
Yeah, go ahead.
it goes on here in the Dragon Ball universe, so he did learn from it.
In hell, yeah, 'cause he did kill a lot of
how
people
this
serving under
movie
Frieza.
goes. So for the people who haven't watched Dragon Ball Z, which is the biggest anime franchise of all time, so
Which
you
we all
probably at
have.
least know
What did he say?
Dragon Ball Z.
kind of basic outline of how this movie goes.
Yeah.
So for the people who haven't watched Dragon Ball Z, which is the
Get your
biggest
jaws
anime
apart.
franchise of all time,
Yeah.
so you probably at least know something about it. I will put into perspective if you haven't watched the show. But if you have, you kind of know what I'm getting at. So to put it into perspective,
don't.
let me tell you kind of the plots of Kung Fu Panda 2 and Dragon Ball Z and how they compare and how similar they are. So the story goes, a mass tyrant extincts an entire race because he has a vision or a premonition of a legendary warrior who's gonna defeat him. So then
that is absolutely nothing new.
First of all, that's nothing new, and because it's nothing new, I fucking knew he was gonna go this direction.
Okay, you know what other story did this?
Go ahead.
Snow White.
Yeah.
And he massacres that whole entire race so that prophecy can never come true. But one baby out of the whole entire race escapes because his parents sacrificed themselves to save their child. And then that one baby that got away, the one that ultimately...
You know what else this story reminds me of?
Yes.
Moses.
Yes.
Oh God, what's the English title? Der Mann in der eisernen Maske.
The Man in the Iron Man.
Yes. Yes. The Man in the Iron Mask.
I'm trying to remember the.
And I'm sure there are other Grimm's fairy tales that have the princess or the prince secreted away to prevent the tyrant from killing him, thereby continuing the line of people who have a claim to the throne that the new guy wants eradicated so he can keep the throne.
Yeah,
there's even Chinese stories about that.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember the movie Hero back in 2002 with
oh boy,
what's his name? Famous
Will Smith.
Jet Li, not Will Smith.
That Hero. Yes.
Yeah, 2002, where the emperor or the guy who's trying to unite China, he's like, why do we always have to fight? Why is someone trying to kill me? Like, there's all these reasons why he's so secretive and protective because someone might kill him. And he goes, oh, now I understand, right at the end, now I understand what the whole point of this conflict was. And as a result, this is kind of like the opposite of that plot. The hero doesn't need to kill the emperor because the emperor understands the other side. The emperor finally understands.
Then sacrifices himself, the bloody idiot.
Well, I'm just saying.
That's where, by the way, that is the part where the Chinese propaganda, I think, comes into it, because there the individual is to sacrifice himself for the unity. That is the part of the movie that I understand what they're trying to say, but the way of saying it is brutal, and I'd even say inhuman.
Well, yeah, this is understanding the other side, what it means to be a hero, why a hero should not desire to kill, but just it's a mission, it's a quest for him to do these things to provide peace, whereas he wants peace and he sees the emperor or the potential emperor to provide that to the people. And he goes, oh, he gets us now. I don't have to kill him.
No. It's not that he gets us. It's that the hero understands the positive aspects as to why the emperor is doing his tyrannical war, taking the other provinces by war stuff, because he wants to bring unity and peace to the whole of China. He wants to win the thing to bring peace, which, by the way, is a thing that, in that case, you can argue for something that is positive, but for the same reason, every other crazy ideology aims for world domination, because it aims for world domination, peace through world domination. That's what the Nazis did, the communists did, that's what Islam does. It's all the same. But the question is, will their rule be good? And with most of these ideologies, if not all of them, we can say, no, they won't. They will be inhumane.
Anyway, that was just one thing that popped in my head that didn't quite accurately show the same plot.
Someone in the chat mentioned the King Arthur legend.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we can go
I
into
think that works as well.
Yeah, what's the
Because Arthur's entire family was wiped out.
I was gonna think
Man,
the.
this guy has not watched a lot of stuff.
Oh yeah, Achilles
again-
heel. There's
and
all
again-
kinds of.
And again,
Myths.
DC, the Superman story. It goes even further.
There are stories in the Edda that go like this.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's nothing new for a top dog to be scared of a prophecy, of an up and coming upstart, of anything to overthrow his rule. So nothing unheard of.
Yeah, oldest story in the book.
The one that ultimately fulfills the prophecy that the tyrant tried so hard to avoid. And the only way for the chosen one to even defeat the tyrant is to find equality with their past selves and their newfound selves.
No, I just thought of Lord of the Rings. Not of man born, or no man can harm me, but it ends up being a female knight or whatever on the field. What's her name?
Eowyn.
Thank you. I think it was with some weird pronounce. Yeah. Anyway, yeah. This is normal. I'm scared of a thing that's going to happen. Ooh, foreshadowing. What do? I try to do everything I can to stop it, but ultimately fate has another story, so I can't stop it.
Exactly.
That's nothing special, but okay. We'll say that he saw the connection with Dragon Ball Z. Fair enough. There is a connection.
Film theory. Did Kung Fu Panda rip off Moses?
Yeah, but not the way the connection is not there the way he thinks it is.
Well, it's not unique to
It's
Dragon
just
Ball.
that Dragon Ball is the first thing he ever saw, and he judges everything by Dragon Ball.
That's totally
Dragon
fine.
Ball is the beginning of time.
That's fine. To him it is, and that's his life. And I don't judge him for not knowing all kinds of other stories. But if you want to directly connect it to something more modern, I guess it works. But you have to talk to the directors specifically saying, what did you...
He's making... No, I disagree. He's making a too tall claim.
With plots...
He acts as if Dragon Ball invented everything, and I'm sorry.
That was a weird thing. But with plots, you can interchange them to pretty much any story, and you'll find a little bit of everything in everyone else. So it doesn't bother me that he sees that. It's just that this is all he knows. So it's like, okay, but what else is there? What else do you got for me aside from a plot? Because plot is just like the backbone. It's like, yeah, where's the flesh? Where's the meat? Where's the one-to-one?
That's technically, this type of story is so old that there is the subversive inversion of the story was already done in Oedipus Rex.
Okay.
Where in order to avoid the prophecy gets fulfilled.
Yeah, this is a... I don't know if this is the most classic twist ending you could think of, because it's essentially foreshadowing. You're telling the audience, there's this big thing that's going to happen, and I'm going to base my entire life to prevent it from happening, and it ends up happening. I can go to the...
because of everything I tried to do to prevent it.
Exactly.
Yeah, with Asimov's stories, it's like, oh, I have this theory that the human race is going to go extinct, and I have to do everything I can to stop it. It's like, oh, there you go. So
I invented this thing that makes humans immortal, and I deliver it through this virus that circumvents the human immune system. Oh shit! It killed everyone.
Yeah, what was it, the Foundation series? I think I'm trying to remember.
Parasite Eve?
No. Trying to get the Foundation series to Parasite Eve is a little bit of a stretch. I have to actually replay Parasite Eve to see how that connects. But anyway, we're half done. We're pretty good.
The origin. Now, obviously, the execution of these stories are totally different. For the main character of Dragon Ball Z, Goku, he becomes a legendary Super Saiyan, while Po, on the other hand, lives up to his Dragon Warrior name. And they both find equality with their past and newfound selves.
What does that mean?
I think he wants to say something else, but doesn't know the right word.
It's pretty sure the actual term here that applies is inner peace with their past.
Consolidation?
I would say peace with their past.
Well, if you're talking
Given
about...
all the bloodshed that led up to that point for both of them.
Yeah, you're discovering an equal balance of understanding between your past present and future, maybe.
I mean, hell, but
no. I think he's smart. He has the wrong word, and I wonder, is there a word with equi in it that is what he actually wants to say?
Well, it could be. It could just be he thinks in terms of his present in a certain light with relationship to his past.
Yeah, but Ginga is right. He means peace. He means something overcoming with it.
I don't think
Goku... I mean, and come to Fu Panda 2, it's literally inner peace.
Right, but with Goku, I don't think he was ever traumatized or had major issues.
He didn't have the trauma, but in that moment, he did kind of need that, completing that part of his own history that he didn't know. Yeah. So that he would have that motivation to avenge everyone that died that day.
Dark Seraph suggested tranquility. I think that is closer to what he's trying to say.
Equilibrium.
I don't know.
One of those.
No, not equilibrium.
Because Goku is not a tragic character. He's not like haunted. He's not, he's pretty much happy-go-lucky even when he's dead.
No, but knowing what actually happened to his race, to the Saiyans, does embolden him a bit further when it came to actually fighting Frieza.
Equanimity. I have never heard that one.
No, I'll go with tranquility. That makes the most sense when putting these two together.
He's clearly using a word that he doesn't know.
All right. Yep. We're trying to put words in his mouth. We're not too sure, but we get what he's trying to say. Okay.
We at least know what he's talking about.
We know he wants to say something. We have an idea what he wants to say. He just doesn't have the right word for it.
Fair enough.
Just like him saying that these are stealing their shit when they're just homaging the original stuff.
Yeah, but that's his actual belief, because he's completely misinformed how media works and and how many stories there are that have done these things for millennia.
Okay.
For Poe, he has to find equality in being the son of a goose and how his original parents sacrificed themselves for him to have a better life. Now for Goku, it's very much the same. His parents also sacrificed themselves to protect Goku and make sure he had a better life than they do. Now for Goku, he didn't know he's a Saiyan, so he grew up as an Earthling. He always believed he was an Earthling, and then he finds out he's from a warrior race called Saiyans. And he has to tackle that newfound origin by finding equality in his Earthling self and his new Saiyan self. Because even though he finds out he's a Saiyan, he always calls himself Goku from Earth. And the only way to defeat Frieza is by finding equality in his Earth self and his Saiyan self, making him become Super Saiyan. And for Poe, the only way to redirect the blast from the cannon...
He is Super Saiyan. He is very intelligent. And...
He's Super Saiyan Seiya.
Yeah, the Super Saiyan, or the original word, Super Saiyajin.
He pulls out a sword, puts on some armor.
Yeah, not Goku.
Quality in himself, essentially pretty much becoming yin and yang. So both characters have...
that's why he says equality all the time. But dude, the Tao is not equality. However you came to this to the conclusion to use this word, go away from it.
Oops.
Rethink it again. Get a thesaurus and find the word that you are actually looking for.
I think if you want to throw the Tao in there, you have to be very specific on the definition, because there's two major ones. Religious is going to keep you busy for another year, and aesthetic is another issue. So yeah, you could use that term, but you have to use it properly. And I don't like it when people use yin and yang all the time, because it feels like they're missing a lot of the substance of what they're trying to say.
Of course, they don't. They know it so little that they mix the two up with each other and then use them the wrong way around, like Robert Jordan did in Wheel of Time, not the horrible show, the books.
And Legend of Korra did as well.
Who?
Legend of Korra.
Yeah,
but that show sucks. That doesn't count.
Yeah. But this is a great. These are two great examples that show that people who LARP at this stuff don't even remotely know what they're doing, because they use the yin as the yang and the yang as the yin. It's absolutely insane. And then they don't even get how this creation destruction thing that they do works, because there's so many other more subtle aspects of that. Like it's insane. But maybe he does mean something more in the sense of balance. but even then his sentences wouldn't make sense if we just put balance in, if we just replaced his use of equality with balance. It would be closer to what he's trying to say, but it is still not that.
Okay.
Have to find to ultimately defeat the tyrant. For Goku, he has to find balance to become Super Saiyan. For Po, he has to find balance to redirect things. Both have very similar outlines. Now, obviously, are they the same? Of course not. They're executed very differently. For one, Kung Fu Panda 2 does this all in one movie, while Dragon Ball Z has a whole entire story arc leading up to Super Saiyan. And both the Frieza arc from Dragon Ball Z and Kung Fu Panda 2 are both great pieces of media. And I'm not here to bash on Kung Fu Panda 2 stealing its idea from Dragon Ball Z.
Then why do
Obviously,
you say
I
it's
like Dragon Ball
stealing?
Z story.
If you want to do it, the comparison actually works better if you also include the Saiyan saga, because that's when the revelation is made that he's an alien.
Yeah, look, if you don't want to bash on it, then first you wouldn't use a word like stealing, because that is a criminal allegation.
Or
Number two, you wouldn't put it in capital letters in your video title. And that's it.
Than Kung Fu Panda 2, but I also like Kung Fu Panda 2. Kung Fu Panda is one of my favorite animated trilogies of all time, so I'm not saying that this is a bad movie. This is a great movie. If you haven't watched it, go watch it. They're both great films and great shows. I just kind of wanted to
take more breaths as you speak slower, then you can get your jaws apart as well. You don't slur words, you won't just swallow entire syllables. Talk slower, take your time, force yourself to slow down. You're making a video recording. You have all the time in the world.
This very obvious parallel that no one seems to talk about. If you look up videos, if you look up online, they don't really like to talk about how Kung Fu Panda 2 kind of stole its story from Dragon Ball Z.
Kind of? So it stole it, or it kind of stole it? What do you...
It didn't.
But yeah, I'm not saying it stole it. I'm just saying, yeah. But
what about Superman?
He's just not very educated, that's all.
How could
Media literacy.
Oh God, no!
Well, in one paragraph it's stolen. The next paragraph it's kind of stolen, and I'm like,
make up your damn mind.
What does that even mean? It's kind of stolen. Is it or is it not?
Do or do not. There is no try.
Obviously, it's not a blatant thievery because they executed very.
So it's not stolen. So it's stolen. It's kind of stolen. Now it's not stolen.
It's a very confused young man.
Maybe he's using the wrong verb. Maybe he needs a specific term he just can't articulate.
That would be the third time.
I just wanted to put into perspective because a lot of people don't know this. Every time I bring this up to people I know in real life, they are very shocked about how.
I wonder why they're shocked.
Yeah, because your claim is stupid.
They're like, wait a second, let me think about that.
And wrong.
I've never thought about that before because why would I?
Yeah.
Everyone in this room is now more stupid.
Kung Fu and Dragon Ball Z have very similar stories because both properties are very big and beloved. And not to
No.
That's not how logic works. They have similar stories because they are both big and beloved. If that was a true sentence, you could invert it. That doesn't make any sense what you just said.
I'm trying to think.
His logic.
Please write your script. Please write your script.
I'm trying to think of, like, I don't know, Sherlock is the same genre as, let's say, I don't know, Poirot. So they're both detectives. They both investigate murders. They're both popular, but they're very different detectives in how they do things. So I don't.
Does that make Kai sell? If Shen's supposed to be Frieza in this guy's mind.
Yeah, I don't think popularity is the defining factor here. It is for, manga.
The stories are similar because they are popular.
Well, that's what some people do. They take the story of a popular manga and they make their own.
No.
So it can work. You
can. No, Smut. It doesn't. That line does not work.
I can show you
rip off
many.
The story. You can rip off the story, and the product will not be popular.
I can show you.
It will still be a similar story, but it will not be a popular product.
I can take one.
This is not a logic. This is not a consequence.
Well, no, I'm just saying it's been done before in a specific way, not obviously this way. But you can take a character that everyone likes or everyone hates or whatever from one story, take that, like 90% of that character, obviously you change it, put it as the protagonist or the antagonist of your story, settings, swap it around, whatever, and people will love it because it's the thing that, oh, this reminds me of this guy over here.
That isn't enough. It still needs to be executed well.
Well, they're going to do exactly the same thing.
You can make a blatant rip-off, and people will hate it because it is a too blatant rip-off that is badly written. But it's the same story.
Yes, there's an art form to ripping off. This is true. I totally accept that a bad writer can take an obvious win and screw it up with the plot progression.
Yeah, and that is why this argument that there's similar stories because both are big franchises that are popular. That is nonsense. There are stories that are different and are still popular. Some are small franchises, but are still popular within their niche. And there are stories that are the same and where not all of them are popular or big. And there are even big things that are shit, but we love them.
All right.
Like Shin-chan. Shin-chan is shit, but everybody loves it.
Also, fun fact, the villain of the movie he's referencing Kung Fu Panda 2, the guy in the middle here, Lord Shen, voiced by Gary Oldman.
Awesome performance.
All right. Here is Chris Tutu. Thanks again, sir. I feel like Dragon Ball is taking more from Journey to the West instead of Kung Fu Panda.
Yes, thanks, Captain Obvious.
I know, yeah. We mentioned that just off the top of our heads at the start because it's obvious, but that's fine. That's cool. Again, he sees what he sees, and that's a connection. That is true. But we understand where it came from originally. So.
A very wrong connection.
I predict the fourth movie will be yellow.
No, it's
I wouldn't be surprised. What, Jade? The third one was Jade.
Yeah, it's third one.
The one on the right, down the right here, Kai, voiced by J.K. Simmons.
He had too little screen time. He had way too little screen time.
Yeah, but what little he did have, it was great. Mainly from the voice.
So underutilized.
I know.
All right, we're almost done.
I mentioned 4 is coming out, which I'm very excited for, and I can't wait to see what it is inspired by. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I want to.
Why would you care what it's inspired by? That's a weird take.
Also, I just remembered. I realized that we kind of predicted Kung Fu Panda 4 at one time, where we was like ragging on Hawk about it.
Oh, really?
I remember vividly.
Was he bashing Kung Fu Panda, and we're like,
I think someone. No, I think someone on the panel said Kung Fu Panda 4 by Hawk or something like that.
Oh, really? Well,
I'm just like,
when I'm excited about a story, a game, it's not because it's inspired by something else. Like when I think of the next Suikoden game, which is coming out I think in April, it's by the creators of Suikoden. So I'm imagining it's going to be like Suikoden, but has nothing to do with it, obviously, because it's a different IP. But the idea of amassing an army and having a castle, I'm assuming the gameplay are going to follow those same patterns. But, I want it to be its own thing. I don't want it to be, oh, look, this reminds me of this character from Suikoden 2. It's like, no, I don't want that. I don't want to be inspired by that. I just get the plot can be anything, but I'm assuming it's going to be the ragtag bunch of people come together to fight the big bad army, and then they flip that on its side with Suikoden 2, where you're the evil army and you got to stop the good guys. This is, nothing special. But if you think that's unique, Go for it. If you think you want Star Wars in your next Suikoden, I don't care. Go for it. I don't mind. Doesn't bother me. But that's not why I'm interested in a game or a story or a movie. It's like Mad Max. It's like, yeah. So
I know you guys knew that Dragon Ball Z heavily inspired Kung Fu Panda 2, and let me know if you find any other
Now you
martial
say
arts
inspired?
references in Kung Fu Panda.
that's a good word. Inspired's the best word you could have used.
Now you say it, you fucking...
It's the correct word.
You waited until the very end. He had to poison
But
the
I
well
would
first.
not- Yeah, but to go to Dragon Ball, I would never go to Dragon Ball as my first guess as to what Kung Fu Panda was inspired
Are
by.
we under the impression that this was just a clickbait title and he just ran with it?
It is a clickbait
Yeah.
title, but I think he truly believes this because he sounds like this uneducated young guy who's obsessed with cartoon media, kids media, but hasn't actually seen much. So he judges, and so the first time he notices a pattern, this is maybe the first time, that he thinks he found gold that nobody else ever saw because, well, nobody saw this because you're wrong. You're over-recognizing a pattern.
Yeah, it sounds like
You can't properly identify it.
a multifaceted meme that someone would just make. Like, here's a story of a guy who does this, and he has a bad guy, and he has to stop the bad guy by doing that. And it's like, yeah, it's a story of Dragon Ball Z and the Frieza arc. And you're like, yeah, okay. And Kung Fu Panda on the other side. It's like, that's it. Yeah, it's a good meme. Good. Okay. Now, if he
Pretty
actually,
sure Prince Eisenherz had a similar story at some point.
yeah, if he just made a YouTube video of the same length showing the similarities in detail, it'd be like, oh, great, cool. That's nice to know. That's kind of neat that he saw that and he spelled it out for us. But here's just like, it's got a big bad guy. And they fight together, and it's like, okay, yeah. It's the stories in general. They fight. So
Fight.
and its other movies. And if you like this video, make sure to like and subscribe.
okay.
No. We're done.
Oh my God, is it inspired by Ava? Look at that. Look at that.
Really?
Well,
Red
Eva
back.
Eva did the Kurosawa blood splash
Oh, I don't want to know.
several times.
Eva,
Oh, cool.
Eva can go fly a kite to the moon.
Anyway, memes.
And let me play.
The memes. Where are the memes? Oh, they're there.
Starting with Dr. Chrisman.
What we got? You
And
want
the doctor
to
saved
do that,
us.
Mike? Yeah, okay.
Which thing?
It's in Kung Fu Panda. Po is the dragon warrior because unlike Tai Lung and Tigress, he worked customer service and won't become tyrannical with power.
Huh.
I don't know. Those customer service people.
And Thailand in and of themselves
Customer
are really
service
good villains.
is more likely to turn you into a tyrant than not.
Girls.
Because you see all the worst of humanity.
Last night I dreamed me and my crush. Boys' dreams. Poland.
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 I don't even understand that.
It's a pun.
Oh, I know it's
His
a
name is
pun,
Po.
but I'm like, what the hell?
His name is Po,
Yeah.
I don't get it.
and that's Poland.
Yeah, the character's name is Poe.
Me checking my voice recording, my voice, and then me.
Ah!
And when you finally get that piece of popcorn out of your teeth, finally, inner peace.
Yes.
Yes.
Also, Oogway is the shit. Okay?
Brush your teeth.
Uwe is awesome.
Oogway's one of the best characters in that entire series.
And floss, too. It's always good. Oh, that's cool. A snake eating noodles.
Viper.
Snake.
Viper. Yes.
She was voiced by Lucy Liu, right?
Yeah.
And we got You Saved Me. Why? Monkey.
Monkey.
Oh no.
The old Mario movie. Monkey.
Medals given out in Tokyo 2020. It's blank. Ha ha.
Yeah. And here it is, Lego Monkey Kid.
Oh, wow.
Damn.
That looks pretty accurate.
Yep.
Wait, that was a cartoon?
Yeah. Although in this,
not 3D.
no, yeah, it's 2D animation.
Nice.
Although Sun Wukong is another character in the show, but this image doesn't have him in there.
But why would you not make it
There's
3D?
there's the obvious video game inspiration.
I mean, so Wukong is in the show. He just wasn't in that image.
Let him
Never
cook.
heard of that one.
Yes, let him cook.
I think our YouTuber needs to let him read. Just read more. Watch more. Whatever you do.
Also, yeah, here's the minigame.
Yeah.
Always got my ass kicked by Meta Knight.
Winter Kirby.
Awesome minigame.
Donk. Yeah, but Kirby always wins. Oh my god, that is terrifying.
Well, this Marks from
Marks.
Kirby Superstar.
This Chester won't betray you. He's your bestest friend.
Yeah, he doesn't want to become a cosmic horror to control the universe.
Yeah, that's what the actual Marks is for.
Wait, did he actually
I have a
kiss
feeling
Piccolo?
why it's that's what the reference is.
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
Oh my god.
I'll take this Marks over the actual one.
All right, what's that? My anger. I don't know. What? What the hell?
You're not a bad guy. I can tell.
That is questionable.
And then, you piece of shit.
I miss my big dog. My head hurts. I miss my dad. I think I'm going to throw up.
Yep, he turned Super Saiyan because Frieza killed his dad, which is the one above.
I'll kill you all next time. All right, see ya.
That's pretty much how that scene goes down. All right, see you later.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't mind him using the word. Just be consistent with it. Don't change it.
Yep. This one, the top half is in the Buu Saga. The bottom half is in Dragon Ball Super.
Don't drink that damn shake. Okay.
Yeah.
5 reasons to bring back child labor
No.
from Dragon Ball. What?
No.
If you're a Super Saiyan and a child, yeah, it's
No, you hear over in the intercoms of the child labor factories. It's just do 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 do.
Also,
I'll give you one. When they fail school, when they don't sit down to learn, then they can go to the factory. If you can't learn to read, if you think you're above that, you go to the factory.
okay. Skidooch?
Skadoosh. That's his catchphrase.
Alrighty.
He's voiced by Jack Black, and he is Jack Black. It's all just Jack Black jokes.
Yeah.
Also, that thing he's doing in the GIF, is the whooshy finger hold. One of the most effective moves in that entire universe.
Okay. Well, that was a pretty short video, and we covered it reasonably well. There wasn't much to say, of course, but that's how it goes. I don't mind covering new guys. It's just I want some, I want some substance. I want something to work with. So sadly,
Some common sense, goddamn.
well, even if his English is not the greatest, it's fine. Just give me a good. Even if he just had reference and just, hey, this happens and that happens. Like, okay, true, you're right. I would say yes, you're correct. That is a video about you being correct. Thank you for pointing that out. This didn't work too well, I don't think, as an argument or as reference. So, sadly, didn't like it too much, but that's okay. All right, guys, that was our anime day. Thanks for having an anime-inspired video, considering we just sort of had one the other day, which, that was bad.
We gotta get back on track for the new year.
Yeah, well, yeah, even small ones are good for anime, just to keep our minds.
But we had two more that got very high votes, so I'd say they can go to the backlog.
Yeah.
Well, we can do.
If we have days where we just randomly do a day, we can do one of them.
That's good.
Yeah, on standby. That's fine.
Good for me. All right, guys. Well, thanks so much. Keep warm. It's freezing out there. It just dropped a bunch of degrees here in Canada, but hopefully it's warmer wherever you are.
You have my sympathy.
Oh,
My heaters finally work. I have cozy
oh my
26
God.
degrees.
You're burning gas.
I know nothing but heat. I live in a tropical island.
It's paid for by taxes.
Oh yeah, that's
Yeah.
why Canada.
Taxes, is it?
That's why Canada has
Where I
carbon
live,
tax. Yeah.
where I live, it just dropped down to the 40s.
I pay that. I pay taxes too.
Come on, drop the 30. Drop the 30, goddamn.
No, Mike, we don't need snow.
I need snow. I want to see snow.
We had snow. We had snow today. It was
Give me-
falling upward.
Well,
Giant fluffy flakes that were that were flying upward.
well,
That's not snow. That's asbestos.
well.
I know
no.
nothing.
Or worse. Or
I was gonna say.
Anyway,
Ew.
have yourself
I know.
a good
I
night.
know nothing but hot.
Enjoy your burning, whatever you're burning. And
The buildings here were built before asbestos was invented.
anyway, take it easy. Good night.
Good night.
Skadoosh.